Good day, people. Happy August 24th, 2025, F150 day, evaporative emission control system failure. We're looking at the F150 service manual 2001, 5.4 liter V8 gasoline engine, page 30313-37. Right there. There's your warning. This is the unit. It's on the firewall, driver's side. It's got an electrical connector, a hard line vacuum connection with a flexible 90-degree angle on it. Attaches behind this solenoid valve type thing. It's got two bolts, 8mm, holding it to the firewall. There's two large hoses connected to it with rigid plastic connectors with a special push to release flexible plastic collar thing on it. It's kind of unusual because these connect up to a rigid plastic, smooth plastic nipple on the unit. They're two different sizes. There's a green plastic connector and there's a white plastic connector. The white connector is the return tube to the charcoal canister. So that would be number 2 up here. That's the white connector. The green connector is down here. That runs to the intake manifold. And they call that the outlet tube. So that goes to the back of the intake manifold. And that flexible rubber tube is expensive and tends to deteriorate rather quickly. So that tube, I think, runs like $100, and it comes with that green connector on the end of it. I'm assuming you could probably rig up a fuel and oil resistant hose of appropriate size and do the same thing much cheaper. But if you bought the replacement version on that, it's just crazy expensive. The reason we're doing this is we got a little scan over at the Oreilly Auto part. Replace evaporative emission canister purge control valve P0442. Okay, it's got a small leak. It is triggering the check engine, service engine light. The other thing that could be causing this is a bad gas cap. Cheaper to replace the gas cap. I've already removed this from the engine, and here it is. So this is the unit right off my truck. You can see that's what it looks like. The photo. There it is off the truck. There's the two hard lines with the plastic connectors. It's a smooth plastic nipple here on each of these. They're different sizes. The lower one is slightly larger than the upper one. So the upper one is the white connector as you look at it on the firewall. The upper one is the white connector. That's the smaller tube. The lower one is the green connector. That's the larger one. Your vacuum hose connects right here. You can see it right behind there. Right there where my finger is. That's that 90-degree hard vacuum line with the flexible 90-degree rubber elbow on it. That connects right there. Electrical connector, 2-pin. They do have a service port here for guys doing service work. It says 1 psi maximum regulated pressure only. The top of the solenoid valve has a loose cap. It doesn't come off or anything. It just spins freely. So it's got some, it must be some sort of vent. It says assembled in Mexico. There is, let me see if I can wipe that off, get a part number on there. Focus, there we go, got a part number. And what does it say there? There you go. This is original to the truck. It has not been replaced. I'm not sure if these are actually serviceable because it looks like it can come apart. And you could clean something in here perhaps. Is it the solenoid that has failed? Is it the diaphragm that has failed? I'm assuming there's a diaphragm in here. Or a spring and something else. The service port connects to the back here via this tube. The bolts, 8mm hex. They're fairly long. I'm going to see if I can take this apart. The only other access for cleaning fluid of any type would be through the openings here. And I'm not sure that that would really do much of anything. But they do have these little tabs that are hooking onto the face of this unit. They've got these little tabs that could probably pry off with a screwdriver and possibly just get that off of there to have a look inside. But the idea is once the engine warms up, the solenoid valve is triggered by the engine computer, more than likely. It might be the powertrain computer too, but probably the ECM. After the engine's warmed up for 10 minutes or whatever, this valve is normally closed. It does not allow any flow of gasoline vapors from the charcoal canister to the engine. Now this one is going to the back of the intake manifold. That's where the vapors are going in. This one is from the charcoal canister. So you got charcoal canister gasoline vapors collecting, and those vapors want to travel through the valve, through this hose, and over to the back of your intake manifold where it connects up there, so that the vapors will be sucked into the intake air going into the engine, and whatever gasoline vapors are present will be burned. You might experience slight decrease in fuel mileage per gallon if this is not functioning properly. If this valve is stuck open, where the vapors are free to travel continuously, even with the vehicle turned off, if this is stuck open, those vapors can collect into the intake manifold, resulting in potentially some hard starting issues or erratic idle initially. You could also have issues when you fill the tank full of fuel at the gas station. So if this is stuck open, as you fill the fuel tank, those vapors are going to want to push from the charcoal canister up into this port. And then if the valve's open, it'll continue to push those vapors into your intake manifold. And assuming you've got the vehicle turned off, you might experience hard starting at the gas station as well, because you're pushing those fuel vapors as the fuel level in the fuel tank rises. It's pushing those fuel vapors up through into the charcoal canister in the emission control system. And then this is connected to the charcoal canister. And so those vapors are going to want to come right in there. And if the valve's open because of a malfunction, then those vapors are going to continually go the circuit here all the way over into the intake manifold. So this is from the charcoal canister. goes to the center of the valve here, and then this goes to your back of your intake manifold via that flexible hose that's connected with the green connector, green plastic connector. This one's the white plastic connector. So what I did was I took my feeler gauge set, which comes apart, take the individual feeler gauges out, stuck them into those tabs after I pried them open a bit. And if you get like 4 of them in there, then you can get your screwdriver on one of the remaining tabs, pry it off the edge of the flange there, and it'll pop up. So it's about to release right now, and then we'll get a look on the inside here, at least of this portion. Okay, and just as I suspected, spring. Not a whole lot going on there besides the spring on this side. You got your vacuum port right there. So that applies vacuum on this side. Got your spring and flexible diaphragm. There's the connection there that goes to the center. So that's the connection from, and there's a little cone-shaped, it's a little cone-shaped piece of rubber right there in the center. Coincides with the opening there. So, got a little gasket type material here going on the flat. And then here's the port going to the intake manifold. That's the green connector. The white connector connects to this. So as the valve opens up vertically, you get fuel vapor coming into this small space, and you're going to have a negative pressure from the intake manifold. It's going to take those vapors and route them through the engine. So, the diaphragm looks to be intact. It's still flexible. The little rubber cone seems to be intact. Plastic's all intact. Everything looks good. Just sits on there like that. And then this side has the vacuum coming from, I'm assuming, the manifold. So the solenoid valve, I'm assuming it either triggers to either apply or not apply vacuum. That appears to be what its purpose is, because this is normally closed, so it's completely flat. It's closed off so that the vapors from the canister cannot flow through to the intake manifold. So that's normally closed, which would be in the down position. It's got the spring, goes on the top. So it's got quite a bit of vacuum that must be applied to get this to raise up, which then allows the fuel vapors to come up through this center portion right here, this opening, and then they just flood in around this section here and get sucked out into the engine through this port there. There's your test port, I believe. Yeah, that's your test port for this. They say 1 psi max on this, whatever the test is for that. So it's applying 1 psi to the bottom side of this, trying to force it up. Okay. So there's really not a whole lot that can go wrong with this side. I mean, everything's appears to be clear. I will double check, but you know, it's just a simple two-piece device here as far as the parts go. Okay. See if I can get a better shot of this top part. So it's probably the solenoid that's failed. Now this is $150, this unit, if you have to replace it. And you're going to do it yourself. The part itself is about 150 bucks. You might be able to find one at the junkyard, but because this is a 2001, chances are most junkyards are going to be picked over as far as that goes. But hey, you never know. I see what looks to be a metal, I don't know whether it's a metal shaft, but there's the electrical connector for the solenoid. I don't know whether it's a mechanical issue or whether it's an electrical failure with the whatever's in here. Is it just an electromagnet type thing? Is there any type of circuit board in here? I don't know. Let me see if I can get that cap off and take a peek at that, because the other half here, there's nothing wrong with this. This is perfectly functional. So the failure has to be within this piece, if there is a failure on this item. Could be the gas cap. Like I said, the gas cap's like 15 bucks to replace it with a OEM Ford unit. 15, 20 bucks, something like that. Maybe it's 30 bucks for a Ford unit nowadays. Okay, success. A little bit of prying. Very small straight blade screwdriver as well as a regular. Just prying underneath where those tabs are. Kind of going underneath here, prying, get one tab to come free and then work to the next one, and there's 2, 4, 6 tabs total. Inside they've got a piece of foam, kind of a cylinder shape with a hole going up the middle, captured in the top. Top is free to rotate, and then in here they've got a tube. There's your electrical connectors, And it looks like I see some coils of wire there. So it's an electromagnet of some sort. But what I want to do is I want to do an ohm test on the solenoid that's in here. This is a coil. There's a coil of wire in here. And we want to test that to see. It should have about 14 ohms of resistance on a digital multimeter. Might be a little bit more, might be a little bit less, but typically somewhere around 14 ohms or higher for automotive type solenoids of this nature. So there's no spec that I could find on this particular one. So I've got the meter set to ohms as indicated right here. Right there, the ohm mark. Doesn't matter which lead touches which, you just want to keep your fingers off it so that you're not going to get electrocuted or anything. You don't want it's going to send a small amount of voltage through the coil. And I want to see yeah, see, we should be seeing 14. Try this again here on the very end of the connector. Yeah, that's definitely, that's not even 1 ohm, which is typically indicative of a coil that has gone bad. And so we're seeing extremely low resistance to our electrical input here. There's almost no resistance, but it definitely should read more than point something. And so if you get a very low reading like that and you're touching the contacts properly and you've got a steady reading, then a very low reading like that is typically going to mean you've got a bad coil. It's either shorted out or there's something else going on with the coil itself. There's no repair that you can do. This is not replaceable, this part here. So you just have to buy a new one. When you look for these on the used market, like if you're shopping on eBay, you want to make sure it's the same valve, right? So this is for a 2001. I think they use this valve up to 2004, I believe. But this is, this is how it mounts in the vehicle. It mounts right on the firewall like that. So you got your service port right here. Some of those valves do not come with the green screw-on cap, so save your old one so you can use the cap on the new one. Make sure that this is the original equipment one, and they've got a little flange here where that plastic connector hooks over. This has got a sharp, larger diameter, and it's got a very shallow angle here. It's a plastic connector. When you squeeze it together, it hooks over this to lock it onto the fitting here. So you want to make sure that that's shaped properly for your vehicle. The other thing to pay attention to, obviously, is making sure the electrical connector is right. But on these, they do have a little protector piece of plastic, and I just saw one listed on eBay that this was broken. And then I looked at it again a because I just did a cursory look of it. It's a used item that was for sale, but this piece was broken. And then I looked at their photos, and the vacuum port here was broken off almost flush. So this was busted on the eBay item. So make sure that that is intact if you're buying a used one. You can pick up used ones for about 30 bucks, 35 bucks, 40 bucks, somewhere in there. Brand new one, knockoff, you can get them for like 36. Are they functional? I don't know. The aftermarket knockoff auto parts stuff is very, very hit or miss. So if it's a critical item in your state where you have to pass emissions, I would suggest getting a original equipment one. You can look for the information on the flat face here that's got like a laser printing. The original equipment does not have a stick-on label. It's got a laser engraved thing. It's made in Mexico. It's got the Siemens label on the bottom. That is a stick-on label there. And then it's got some other numbers here, which are difficult to see. With a bad coil, there's no way to easily remove this without destroying things. So, yeah, this will get replaced because it's got a bad coil. Now, that's not to say that I don't also have a bad gas cap as well. Just because we found one problem doesn't mean it's the only problem. So this could be one problem of several. So, but this is definitely bad.